Hi, everyone. Welcome to this new edition of the India InsurTech podcast. And today we have with us Sarbvir, who's the CEO of Policybazaar. Hi, Sarbvir. Welcome to this podcast.
Hi, Prashant. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you with us. Sarbvir, I want to start off by quoting something that IRDA has mentioned. And IRDA said that Insurance 2.0 is here. It's time to evolve and reinvent the sector. Uh, what is your outlook for 2024? What trends do you think will reshape India's financial landscape this year?
So I think, Prashant, first, definitely I'd like to acknowledge that under the current chairman, Panda sir, I think IRDA has definitely taken the role of development very seriously. So I think, as he always says, that there was always a regulatory role. I think then there's also a development as part of the agenda. I think they've really taken it up very, very seriously. And he and the authority have just done some amazing things to unshackle. And I think the plans are also very exciting in terms of, really moving towards a principle-based approach to regulation and, the rules becoming less, I guess, less onerous, and sort of saying that we want to focus on getting things done, making sure that every Indian is insured by 2047. So, now we are on a very, I would say, growth agenda. Of course, there is a regulatory side and that is being done, but there's a growth agenda that has been set in motion. And I think the entire industry right now is excited about that. And, everyone is trying to play their part in doing that. So I would say that 2024 in that context is a continuation of this theme, right? So we've been on this theme. If you ask me honestly, in insurance and financial services, nothing changes in a year. I think it's a slow process. You have to kind of put in the building blocks, right? And those building blocks over a period of time add up and lead to cumulative sort of growth. And I think we've been on a path. I feel that the industry, obviously, the first job is to create awareness and build trust, right? So, I mean, fundamentally, we are selling a piece of paper. A person has to give money. You get a piece of paper, so it's a promise. And obviously, in any situation where a promise is involved, trust is important. So I think industry has to build that awareness and trust, give a better customer experience. I think that's very, very important because the customer is comparing us not only to what our insurance standard, they are comparing us to other services that they consume. So whether it's food delivery, hailing a taxi, financial, their banking services, UPI, etc. So I think that is the second thing that I think the industry has to really focus on, is in improving the customer experience. I think if we do these two things, every other trend is in our favor, right? If you think about it, as the middle class, as the country is growing richer every year, you want to protect yourself, right? Protecting yourself becomes more and more important. Protecting your assets is important. You have to protect yourself against liability. So I think we are moving in the right direction. The whole digital infrastructure, India Stack, etc., is there. People are getting used to buying things online. So I think we are moving. Two big mega trends are in our favor. We have to get obviously our own thing right also.
Got it.
That's what I would say.
And as we're evolving, Sarbvir, particularly post COVID, how do you see Policy Bazaar specifically sort of shaping the future of insurance in India?
Yeah, so I think don't want to make it sound too grand. I think we are, one of the players, a small player in a very large industry. But having said that, I think we definitely take on the mantle of, innovation and pushing the borders, pushing the agenda from a customer perspective. See, we always start from the customer and we want to push that agenda as to how can we make things simpler, easier, from customers, right? So that they can have confidence and buy more insurance. So I think that is a journey that we are on. So if you see, we continue to focus on building awareness of insurance. So a lot of our marketing, especially on television, is not about Policybazaar as such. Is actually about the importance of term insurance and the importance of health insurance. So that's something that we keep talking about. You would have perhaps noticed that we have also started talking a lot more about claims. So the current, creative that we have on air actually talks of real people, and we've gone with obviously real people and real stories. So we are saying somebody who has had a health insurance, matter, or this time it's a more stylized version of it. Last time we had run actually real person story. In term insurance, we are running real stories of families that have been helped because they had term insurance. So I think we are trying to make this real and have a conversation. See, the challenge is that nobody wants to have these negative conversations, right? Nobody wants to talk about death. Nobody wants to talk about the fact that if somebody falls ill or something. And obviously we don't wish that on anyone, right?
Correct.
But that is the reality of life. We can't wish it away either. So I think
Correct.
that is something that mantle is on us, and we continue to do that. And the second thing, as just as I shared with you earlier, is improving our customer experience. We
Correct.
want to ensure that when a person buys from Policybazaar, they can buy with utmost confidence and trust that that whatever promise has been made to them on behalf of our insurance partners. We work with 52 insurance companies, and we each, we have to make sure that the promise is lived. And that is something that we want to do. And any small matter that they need to do, small or large, should be very simple. So that what I believe is that every interaction with Policybazaar should lead to enhancement of trust. Simple thing, you want to change the spelling of your name because it's wrong for whatever reason, it may have no relevance to the claim actually,
True.
right?
Yeah.
But if you feel that gives you confidence, we will do it in 1 second if we can, right?
Wow.
So that's the goal. That's the goal. And
Right.
of course, the third thing that we continue to focus on is to make sure that we are a good partner for our insurance, companies that we work with. So in terms of quality of business, we focus a lot on risk so that we are weeding out any kind of, fraudulent behavior. We are making sure that the book of business that they are writing with us is profitable for them, is attractive, is giving them good customers. And if you think about it, that's how the flywheel works,
Correct.
right? You have customers, they are happy with you have your partners, they are happy with you, allows you to build better products, offer better processes, and the sort of
Flywheel
circle
continues.
keeps. Yeah,
Correct.
that's
And
our
that's
that's the goal.
fantastic. That's absolutely fantastic. You spoke about putting out, interesting content for customers, for the industry, etc. One of the interesting pieces that you put out is how India buys insurance, which I read and I
Right.
found very, very interesting. And I'm citing
Thank you.
something that you've mentioned from IRDA and Niti Aayog's a data point perspective, which is 52 crore Indians are covered by various health schemes, but a significant middle class, missing middle is what you mentioned, lacks adequate health protection. I wanted to understand from you, how can we address this problem and this gap, both from an industry perspective and how you're addressing it through Policybazaar?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a great question, Prashant, and it's something that we think about a lot. So I'll share with you what is our current thinking. The thinking keeps evolving. See, the current thinking, as we've tried to understand this, is so there are two or three points I'd like to say about the missing middle. One is that this is not it's not a geography thing alone. So it's not that there are only people in smaller cities who are part of this missing middle. There are people living in Delhi and Bombay and Bangalore also who are part of it, right? And that is one of the challenges of India, that nothing happens in isolation. So it's not so physically separate, right? It's actually, there are sort of semi-urban areas within Delhi, there are semi-rural areas. I mean, everything is right here, right? And it's true
Correct.
of any big city. So that's point one. Point two is that the challenge of this missing middle is that their income is a little bit, it's on the edge. They don't necessarily have the ability. So let me give you some numbers. So let's say if an average today health insurance policy for a family, which is logical, let's say 10 lakhs and above in in a big city, would cost say 25,000 rupees or so, right? Everything included. So let's say 2,000 rupees a month. Now for some of this segment, that 25,000 is too much.
Right.
Now the question is that what do we need to do? Now the coverage, you see, if you think about it, the coverage can't be lower because the cost is there. So the coverage has to be similar or meaningful, right? There's no point in having inadequate coverage either. Now what we can do is we have to think of areas where we can shave something, so that how can we make it 1,000 rupees a month? How can we make it 700 or 800 rupees a month, right? How do we do that? One approach, of course, is that you try to control the network, right? To say that, okay, you can only go to certain hospitals, and obviously those hospitals are also good, but maybe they're not the super luxury ones or something like that. Second approach, of course, is to put sublimits or cap room rents and things like that. Now, again, I think capping room rents, of course, perhaps, sublimits are dangerous, but maybe some are required because you need to do that. So what I'm sharing with you are just some of the approaches, right? There are many such things. So what we are trying to do is that we are exploring these opportunities with our partners and saying that how can we create some bundles for them, right? What would it take to create a bundle at 800 rupees a month? Now, because some of the other challenge with the missing middle or this segment also is that many times they actually want some healthcare coverage also. They don't find it useful only that your coverage is only for hospitalization, right? Because they have other expenses, right? They have other out of pocket expenses. So now can we give little bit coverage for that? Because then suddenly the bundle becomes much more useful for them
Right.
versus just being if in the off chance I have to go to hospital. So we are trying to create these bundles with different, we're working with partners to say what would be the way. And now where does Policybazaar come into this picture is that we have the ability to find these people, right? Because a
Yeah.
lot of these people are aware about us. They may be visiting our platform also. So you see, we have so much data, right? I know from where did people come, how many of them bought, how many of them spoke to my advisor for a brief, for let's say more than X minutes and didn't buy still. And what was said on the call. So one of the things that we have developed over the last, I would say, few years is this ability to really understand what was said on the call,
Yeah.
right? What was the issue? Why did I not buy insurance, right? Was it because I found the premium too high? Was it because I found hospitalization a challenge? Was it because, I was looking for something else, right? So as we are able to slice and dice this data, once I have a product which can meet some of these objectives, I can actually go back to those people and say, look, you came to us, you spoke to us for more than, let's say, 15 minutes, but you didn't buy from us. Perhaps you didn't buy from anybody. Now I have a product for you which is actually more logical for you. So I think we're trying to create these end-to-end solutions, right? From how to get customers to providing them with these products. Because you see the challenge, the reason why I mentioned the top of the funnel to you is that is also a challenge. If I have to spend too much money in attracting the customer, I can't make this product work
That's
because
right.
there's only so much money, right? And
Correct.
and that's why I feel that it's something that we are also uniquely suited to do. I mean, we are a digital platform. Our marginal cost hopefully is lower than others, and honestly, we are very comfortable in the equation of volume versus value. So we are okay to say that let's make small amount of money per policy. Obviously, if the policy itself is worth less, the amount of money that we can make will. But we are ready to, I would say, go into it because we believe the volume can be a lot. And I think that's an advantage for us,
Understood.
compared to some other.
All right. I think while you're speaking about creating products, I think one of the points you mentioned is to add in features that are utility based, which provide
Yeah,
gratification, which I think insurance generally lacks, right? I mean, we don't give
yeah,
gratification. Everything generally now is boiling down to customer experience. Uh,
yeah.
how is Policy Bazaar sort of simplifying the insurance buying process and making, these protection products more accessible to consumers?
Again, that's a great question, Prashant. And I think what we are trying to do. So first thing that at least we've discovered, especially in health insurance, I would say in particular, is that actually policies come with a lot of features, right? So if you read through the policy documents and the marketing material, it is surprising even sometimes to experts who've been at it for a while to discover all kinds of options embedded in them. And I think one of the things, I really like the word you use, utility, right? That we have to start finding things that a person can say, okay, I paid X thousand rupees, and you know what? I'm getting something back from this, right? So if there is a health checkup embedded in the policy, let's try to make it real, right? Why
Right.
don't you use the checkup? If there is a some kind of second opinion embedded in the policy, why don't we use that? If there is some discount that you will get for walking a certain number of steps in a particular year or month or whatever, why don't we make that come alive? So what we are trying to do is that instead of buying a policy, getting a PDF, putting it into WhatsApp or your email box or somewhere, storing it somewhere, we are saying how can we make this policy a living document, right? How can I interact with it and do something about it? And I'm saying let's start with what it has already. Let's
Correct.
not
Yeah.
ask for more features and more cost and all that. Let's start with what we have and try to make that come alive. So that's One of the things that we are doing to change the way customers perceive insurance and say that it's a very useful thing, there is a certain utility in it, and of course you see people do understand the risk element of it, right? And I just want to take a second to explain to you that risk element is very important to cover also, and actually is the real reason why you buy insurance. And what I mean by that is that many of us can cover a certain amount of money, right? We sell the policies kind of the reverse way that perhaps they should be sold, because I could be a person, I could say that I can cover 50,000 rupees, okay, I can manage somehow. You may say I can cover 1 lakh rupees or 2 lakh rupees or whatever, right? Now, actually, what we need coverage for is for the above that. So, supposing something very big were to happen to us, right? And we need, let's say, 20 lakh rupees. These days, some treatments can easily cost 20 lakh rupees, right? Or 30 lakhs, or I have to, do something. Now, I can't cover that.
Correct.
So it should actually be that I will cover the first X and you cover the rest, rather
Correct.
than what we say today that, okay, no, this is the cap. And because if nobody wants to ask that question, but the real issue is what will you do beyond that?
That's right.
Right? You have no ability, right? So I think we want to start moving in this direction. We want to start. So we've brought a focus on deductibles. We are starting to move the conversation in that direction because about 4 5 years ago we had introduced the 1 crore kind of policy, right? Where we said that you need cover of like 1 crore, and I think it felt like, wow, that's too much, right? What are we going to do? But the main purpose of that is to change this conversation and say that you can handle X, you let the insurance company handle the rest. And I think it's when you start thinking about it, it's actually a more logical thing for the insurance company also, because
100%.
I also have some skin in the game, right? I
Correct.
have to spend the first amount of money. So these are some of the areas that we are working on, and we are trying to make it more useful. We want to make it more useful for customers.
That's a really, really good point, Sarbvir. I think uh, moving on from this product construct, I wanted to also speak about the purchase experience. Now,
Right.
while PP is a digital first brand, I also take it that you have 62 stores across 160 plus Indian cities, if I'm right. And now customers have the option to purchase, through an offline and an online medium. How has this
Yeah.
amalgamation between online and offline mediums contributed to your success story in the recent years?
So, first, Prashant, I'd just like to explain the model a bit because sometimes I think that
Course.
model is slightly misunderstood. The model actually does not involve people walking into our stores or something like that. We don't actually expect, and practically also it doesn't really happen. People
Okay.
don't go shopping for insurance, unfortunately.
Right.
So what happens is that what we are doing is that we have policybazaar.com, which is the funnel for everything. So all
100%.
customers come to policybazaar.com where they express their interest. So let's say they express their interest in health or term or motor or savings or whatever. Now, after they express their interest and they maybe select some things, they look at some products, they may make some comparison, etc., etc. Then we get into the part, if it's an assisted sale, so supposing you are in a product category where assistance is important, then a advisor would perhaps call you, or maybe you would chat with an advisor. And these days we have everything: chat, video call, whatever you want to do. And after that, we also offer you the opportunity to meet with a person. So you may say that, okay, I wish to meet. A lot of people say, I don't want to buy without having a face to face meeting, right? And
Correct.
that's when we offer that meeting. So the stores that you refer to are largely, I would actually christen them and say that they are more like our local presence, where a person is there who could then come and meet you, or probably set up a appointment and come and see you, versus really being incoming traffic from
Right.
there. So that's the general lay of the land. Today we have over almost 1,500 colleagues who are working in different cities. We are available in over 100 locations now. So the 60 was perhaps little earlier. We are
Okay.
present in 100 plus locations. And in the businesses that where this is a relevant thing, which is essentially life and health, uh, almost, I would say, 20% of our business, fresh business, we are just talking of fresh right now, fresh business comes from this these people.
The
So you can
offline
imagine,
experience centers.
yeah. So it's a very meaningful part of our growth, and I think we've just got started. So if you ask me honestly, I think that we have just proven the fact that this model can work, because as you can imagine, when we started this model, even internally, we were not 100% sure that how this model will work out. Being a, everybody asks you, why are you doing something on offline and it will lead to more expense, etc. But see, we were very confident because we knew that the cost of marketing is the same. We were
Right.
basically taking the cost of marketing and trying to improve the conversion.
Okay.
So that normally is a positive, endeavor. But of course, it was a learning curve to learn how to do things offline, and I'm sure we are still, a lot to learn still. But I think now in the next 2 3 years, we will double down on this, and we will, our teams are getting stronger and stronger in terms of how to handle this better and have a better customer experience. So that's kind of where we are on the offline side. But think of it, I would summarize it as saying that we want to sell in the manner that the customer wants to buy, right? Physical, speak in whichever language. So now we speak in 13 languages, versus a few that we used to speak in. So we want the customer to feel whatever they feel comfortable with, we'll do. Some person may say, I don't want to meet you, right? I have zero interest in meeting you. I'll buy on my own. So we say, fine, please go ahead. So I think that maturity is something that we are also developing. I think that's an area that I think Policybazaar can get better at, is understanding different customers and treating them in the manner they want to be treated.
Wow, that's fantastic. Again, I think congratulations on the expansion. We had our data point wrong, but I think this thesis is working out really well for you, and congratulations again on that, Sarbvir. Uh, I think we before we wrap up this episode, I'd love to get a quick 30-second understanding from you on the key regulatory updates that you see that are poised to revolutionize the insurance industry in the near future.
So Prashant, of course, I don't want to say too much about regulation. I think it's not our place to say anything. But all I would say, if I look at what has happened, I prefer always to focus on the here and now. I think what has happened, I think, is that the two very big changes. I think the expense of management regulations are a game changer for the industry in making it very clear that what business model any company wants to adopt is their problem, right? The way think of it in my mind is that it says that your business model, you want to have high fixed cost, low variable cost, or low variable cost, or the other way around, low fixed cost, high variable cost. It's up to you, right? And overall,
So, Sarbi, before we wrap up this episode, I wanted to understand your take on the key regulatory changes that you see coming up, and you think will revolutionize the insurance industry in the near future.
sure, Prashant. So, obviously, don't want to comment on regulation too much. I just like to stay with whatever has happened. The future we'll see what happens. I think number two very big changes have happened, and both are very, very positive, I think, for the industry. The first one was the expense of management regulation, which to my mind gives the freedom to insurance companies to decide how they want to do their business, subject to overall cap, so that the customer is not never out of pocket too much. Effectively, it says you can have high fixed cost, low variable cost, or you can have low variable cost, high fixed cost. So it's a very positive change. I think it has made life simpler and easier for everybody. The second change which happened, which was actually before this one, which was the product regulations around use and file,
That's right.
versus file and use. And I think that has freed up the industry. And I think the benefits of that, I think, will come. Actually, what happened was that initially it has taken a while to see the benefits, because what we found was that development of technology takes time, right? So while products can be conceived faster, they still need to
Correct.
be implemented, and that takes time. But I think now I can see many insurance companies are working on those aspects, and I think that is going to become faster. And I think that you will see a lot more action because of that, and it will probably be in the next 12 to 24 months. So I think these two very big changes. The third that we spoke right up front, that overall framework is changing from rule based to principle based, and I think that is a very big philosophical change. uh, and yeah, other than that, I think the fact that for once, or we at this point have a regulator who is focused on growth of the industry, is thinking about what can we do to improve penetration, I think is very, very uplifting and very positive for all of us. And we just want to make sure that we are there, and we also are able to help or do our role in moving things along. That's how I see it.
Got it. Got it. I think we've had a great time having this conversation with you, Sarbvir. I think from our perspective at IA, we'd like to thank you and congratulate you for the success that you're seeing at Policy Bazaar and wish you the best ahead.
Thanks Prashant, and we appreciate the work all of you are doing at IIA. I think it's very important that we all are well represented, and I think you guys are doing a great job, and look forward to catching up.
Thank you again, Sarbvir.
Thank you.